All right, guys, DJI's latest Osmo Mobile 7 is officially here, and we have it in our hands. And I gotta say, I really do like this gimbal. Now, DJI gimbals, I am no stranger when it comes to them, as this is literally the device that powered my channel throughout the years. As I first started my YouTube channel about 5 to 7 years ago, this combo with a smartphone, that's how I was making most of my videos. So in this video, we are making a beginner's guide on everything you need to know about this amazing gimbal from DJI. Now the one we have here is the 7P, which just means we have access to the tracking capabilities with this modular design, and we actually have a tripod. But if you would ask me which one I would personally pick if for somebody who's just starting, I'll be perfectly fine with the standard one because this always ends up just being attached to a tripod. But regardless on which one you decided to go with, they both are the latest and greatest. They have the ability to charge your device, are extremely light and powerful enough that could support like a heavy phone like the Samsung Ultra S25 that we have here as the payload. On the 7P is about 700 grams. So timestamps to everything will be in the description down below for your pleasure. And now let's get started. So when it comes to mounting this device, here I have an iPhone. What I like to do with these modern day iPhones is just take the clamp and just try to center it with the ring of your MagSafe if you have a case like this, or you can utilize the Apple logo back here. And another thing to also keep in mind is there should be a camera icon right here. Make sure the camera is pointing the direction that your phone camera is. And then as for the Samsung, since we do have a little ring right there, I'll have a link to this case in the description down below. But I'm going to take off this case just to show you the method I like to do whenever I'm lining this up, and just strictly just look at it, make sure the camera is on the right direction, and just use the clamp and then center it to your eyes. And then just make sure the volume and power button is like over this slightly. That way I don't accidentally press it when I'm using my device. And notice how it's big enough that it can support like bulky cases like this without any issues. But the accessory I highly recommend using, especially if you're just getting the regular 7 Osmo 7, not the MP, or you don't plan on using this modular tracker as often, get the $20 MagSafe clamp. This thing is absolutely amazing. It simply just lines up to your phone. Even matches my case, surprisingly. And cool thing is there's a ring, super sturdy. I can also utilize this to like watch my content. Oops, didn't mean to fall. I can use it to watch my content like landscape mode or portrait mode. And then this simply just rotates and it locks into place. Very sturdy, way better than those pop socket, and it simply just attaches. And it is not falling. The only thing that fell off was this, not the actual MagSafe. That's how powerful this thing is. And it works extremely well, even on third-party devices like this Samsung. So long as you have the MagSafe supported ring on your Android case, you can simply just attach it, line it up, and it snaps in place just like so. I already used it quite a bit when it comes to shooting my car videos. And so far, stayed on, hasn't yet fallen off. So I have links to this in the description down below for you. So those are my rule of thirds when it comes to mounting this clamp to the gimbal. Now, even though I will be using the iPhone when it comes to my screen recording, it's 100% identical on the DJI Mimo app on the Android side. Just however, DJI does require you to download the APK file to actually have this installed on your Android, which I'll give you the link to it in the description down below so you could install it on your Android device, because the DJI Mimo app is not available on the Android store, nor is it available on the Samsung store if you're using a Samsung. But after you're done downloading the app and have it installed on both your devices, before you get started on utilizing your DJI gimbal and extending the tripod if you have it, is first, especially if you're using a third-party case like we have right here, this bulky case, on the top left corner where you see the dots, go into gimbal, and down here select gimbal automatic calibration. Select that, allow it to start. It's going to turn off the gimbal, it's going to recalibrate it. I recommend doing this because everybody's phone is different than one another. You could have a third-party case like we have right here, or you could be using like a larger iPhone, or maybe you're using an Android phone. By doing the auto calibration, this will save that phone's profile, allowing you to have the most stabilization possible out of the box. So that's definitely something I recommend doing as soon as you get your hands on your gimbal and you have it all set up. Because when I first started, my phone was kind of off balance, but thanks to that auto calibration, it's perfected and designed optimized for this iPhone that we have here. And then if you find that the joystick like tilt speed is too slow for you, go ahead and increase the speed, because for my personal experience, I have mine set to fast And you can do this by selecting the dot icon on top right here again once more and scroll down until you find the joystick speed. Select this and you'll see a drop down menu. For some reason it's not showing up on my side. Oh, there we go. There you go. You'll see a drop down menu. You have slow, medium, and fast. Personal preference, but I find fast to be the best one for me. Now, a weird limitation about the DJI Osmo is the tilt. Because when I was first using it, the tilt wasn't going as low as I would like it to do. And to my surprise, this is a feature that's turned off by default. Back in the dot icon and in the gimbal, if you scroll down, you'll find a tilt follow feature. Make sure you have this enabled to utilize the full tilt motion that this gimbal is capable of doing. I'm not sure why it's turned off by default, but that's something I would definitely recommend turning on to really utilize every motion available. Now on the very top where you see that little 4-window block thing that looks like the Microsoft window, another thing I like to do is change the sleep time to a sleep time that you personally want. Typically around 3 minutes is the default selection, but whenever I'm filming and I like to have my cameras on standby mode for something, so long as I have a full charge, I feel that 10 minutes is the best one, so you don't have to reset and start all over in case you accidentally missed your shot. Now let's go ahead and go over the shortcut buttons, because there's a lot of amazing button shortcuts every user needs to know. So these are your button layouts right here, and it's identical even on the 7, not just the 7P. This button over here will allow you to quickly switch from front-facing camera or back camera by single pressing. A double tap will allow the camera to go from landscape mode to portrait mode. And then the M button is just your mode selector. This will allow you to select between the 4 different modes that we have available. And it tells you typically right there on the screen what each mode does. And if you have your camera on standby and you're trying to preserve battery, just triple tap the M button 3 times, and this will put your gimbal in standby mode, where the gimbal is still on, but the motors are not operating, so you can preserve as much battery life as much as possible. And then any button, anywhere, a single press will reactivate it. It could be the trigger, it could be this one, joystick, or any of the front buttons to reactivate your gimbal. And then if you need to turn it off entirely, just long hold the M button, and then the gimbal will automatically go into the default power off. And from here, you could just decide to like fold it down if you like to like store it away. And it will automatically turn on once you unopen your gimbal, as you witnessed me do right there. And then as for this trigger button right here, a single hold will lock the position of the gimbal. As you see right there, it even tells you on the screen. And then if you move, and if you tap 2 times on the trigger button, it will recenter your gimbal. But if you want the back camera to face you, a triple tap on the trigger will allow the camera to switch to a 180. So you could actually record yourself with the best camera on your smartphone, and a triple tap again will send it back to the front. But now let's say you're filming and you're having a hard time making this camera stay in place. Like even though you're using the joystick as an example, you can manually just twist this, as it's designed to actually do that. In addition to that, you can also manually move the camera like so to enter landscape mode or portrait mode. It's designed to do that as well, just like the older gimbal models. Now another thing you could do with the trigger is a single tap. If there's a subject in frame, could be humans or pet, it will allow the gimbal to track automatically. But then if you want to increase the follow mode speed, press 1 and then press and hold will adjust the follow mode speed, and then just release to exit out of it. Now the slide wheel is kind of interesting. As you can see, by simply just rotating the little slide wheel, this will allow you to toggle between your zoom in functionalities, and a single press will allow you to adjust your autofocus into a manual focus. And now if you have the 7P, I took the liberty and attached the Modular, which gives us access to the floodlight as well as the tracking. Because if you press and hold the joystick, the little slider now, you'll have access to your floodlight. And you could adjust the brightness by just rotating it, and then long hold to disable the floodlight. But by having the floodlight enabled and you tap again, you can also adjust the temperature of the floodlight as well. And if you tap one more time, you can continue adjusting the brightness. Now let's cover the little mini display right here. When you see a solid green on the Bluetooth, that means you are connected. If it's pulsing, that means you're not connecting. And then if any of these modes are pulsing as well, that either tells you the gimbal is being updated with a firmware update, or there's a gimbal error. And when you receive a gimbal error, just go ahead and manually turn it on and power it back on to resolve the issue. it might be an off balance issue. So check your device and make sure everything is balanced properly. And then the battery life indicator is basically this. If you're not using the DJI Gimbal app, you can monitor your battery life percentage right there in the corner. But if you're using your first party one from your phone, it's good to understand that if you see this battery icon blinking red, that means you're less than 5% remaining. If it's a solid red, less than 6 to 19% battery life remaining. If it's a solid yellow, that means you have anywhere between 20 to 60% battery life. And if it's a solid green like we have right here, that means we have greater than 60% battery life. And the cool thing about this gimbal is if you use a USB-C cable and plug it in to the port right here, and then you go ahead and plug it into your connected device, if we exit our home page, it will show you that it is indeed charging your device. If it's not working, even though you plug it in, you need to double tap the mode button and it will allow your phone to accept charge from the gimbal. Now the DJI Modular is actually pretty cool, as not only does it have a built-in transmitter, so if you have like a DJI Mic, new mini version, in addition to that, if you're utilizing the back camera, you could place it on facing the back camera portion on your smartphone, or you could rotate it to the front camera portion as well. And to release it, press down on this little button, it will cause it to unlock itself because it is using metal locking pins to make sure it stays put. But if you're planning on using DJI's microphone, just go ahead and attach it. And with the provided USB-C to USB-C cable, connect it and have it all connected to your phone to utilize the microphone functionality. So to pair your DJI mic to the little modular over here, the little sun icon is what you need to long hold until you see the green LED on the very bottom begin to flash. Now it's telling us it's in pair mode right there, as you see. And then if your receiver is left on Bluetooth mode and you'd like to switch it to the green link mode, just long hold the record button for 3 seconds. And you should see it turn to green. Now it's no longer in Bluetooth mode. It should be able to communicate with the DJI transmitter. And now just long hold on the little link button until this LED begins flashing. And then in a matter of seconds, these two should be able to communicate with one another. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the Mini, so I'm unable to show you how it links, but this is only compatible to be linked on the DJI Mini Mini Mic, unfortunately. So if you have the small Mini Mic, yeah, it's fully compatible, but if you do, now you know how to do it. Now, personally, I find better results using the transmitter if you don't have the DJI Mini Mic. As the new powerful motors found in this gimbal, it's more enough to actually off balance the DJI transmitter if you have it plugged in this way. This is how I typically record my videos utilizing my Samsung phone. Now, the beauty about the 7P is that you do have foldable extended tripods down here, including a little tripod thread like what's standard on the other gimbal as well. But the beauty about these extended legs is it will give you the extra length in case you need it. And of course, you can also extend the built-in tripod as well. I just don't recommend having it extended like this, because if you place it on a flat surface and your phone rotates wrong, this could easily like fall and tilt. As you see, a small push allowed it to easily fall. So I usually have it midway if I absolutely have to, but I'll strongly suggest just connecting this to an actual tripod with longer legs. Now, when using the modular sensor right here, the things you have to keep in mind is if this LED is flashing red, that means it's ready and it's on standby mode. If it's green, that means it's tracking. And when it's all set up with your gimbal, the gesture controls are basically this. So when using active track with the modular, right now I'm using the default iPhone camera app. Work exactly the same on Android, trust me. And the main controls you need to be aware of, well, first of all, if you do this peace sign gesture you see right here, that will stop or begin the recording as well as capture video. But as it's tracking me right now, let's say for example, I'm not properly in frame where I want it to be. Instead of pausing the recording, just do a little L bracket. LED light will turn white, position yourself to the correct frame, and then do the L bracket again. And then it's green, and it should start tracking you in that frame that you set yourself in. That's how easy it is. And of course, if you wanted to stop tracking, just put your palm out like so. It stopped tracking me, so it's gonna stay exactly where it's at, and it won't track the next subject unless they put their palm out. So right now it's kind of low. I could just do this, start the tracking, and then boom, I brought the camera a little bit up without me physically having to go and touch the camera or the gimbal to readjust. And then to end recording, just do the peace sign. And then, yeah, that's basically it. It's really straightforward and pretty easy to use and understand. I'm gonna do the peace sign and end this recording. So you're probably gonna see a mid. All right, now let's go ahead and go over the UI to the DJI app. So I'm going to put this in landscape mode so it's easier for us. And again, regardless if you're using iOS or an Android, the layout's 100% identical. So right here you have your many different modes from hyperlapse. You have your hyperlapse settings located right here onto the side if you want to change the resolution. You also have time lapse. It's recommended to use a tripod for the best performance. And above here you can change the duration if you want to be infinity or you like it to be a 2-minute, 3-minute long time lapse, as well as the interval. You can adjust it right here. Best results 1. And then you can decide if you want left to right. If you wanted to automatically pivot from left to right, you could do that, or right to left, or create custom motion too. With custom motion selected, by tapping the blue, this will save that motion and then move the camera to the position you want to also go and capture. Select that and then move it up. And then if we select the time lapse, it will automatically move from those directions that we selected. Right above here, you have dolly zoom, which you could do a zoom in or zoom out function. So if moving out to the subject, the DJI app will automatically walk you through everything and even shows you a little preview how that will look like. And then in slow motion, this will select the most best slow motion settings for your device. And if you like to make it even slower, select right here. You can go up to 8 times slow motion zoom. And then for anything, if you select auto and select manual, you'll have the ability to adjust your ISO and stuff like that. But for a best result, for most people, auto is the best one. But if you know what you're doing, you can always select manual, regardless which mode you select. Because even here, we have the manual mode here as well. And then here, you can also change between the different resolution settings, as well as the FPS rate that your phone is compatible to do. And the beauty filter, you can select it right here if you like to smoothen your skin or not. Right above here is your photo. Very self-explanatory. You have your timer, beauty filter, as well as additional settings you can enable if you want the grid, like the rule of thirds on your screen, you can do that. And then in pano, this will be where you'll start your like 3D, 3x3 like pano shots. You can also change the grid if you want it to be a full 240 degree. Or a clone me, where you can basically create these like clone shots. Again, the video tutorial that it has by default is more than enough to show you exactly how it's going to look like. And then parents for kids, this is new. This allows the camera to actually capture like moments automatically utilizing AI, it seems like. To create like capture moments if you're doing something with like your kids and you just want this gimbal to do it all automatically on your behalf. Again, resolution settings, beauty filter, your auto camera settings to convert to manual. You could adjust it all right here. And then story, think of this more like Instagram ready shortcuts. Because if you look over here onto this right, you have a variety of different styles to choose from. And it'll automatically create these like short style videos with very little editing, as it's all done integrated in the app. And once you find a theme or style you like, just tap start. It will show you a little guiding tutorial how to capture the certain subject and for how long. It will automatically generate this video for you. So that's a quick walk around. And then of course, this little play icon will show you all your previously recorded videos. Now for some bonuses. By tapping the dot icon over here and you select general, if you scroll down, you'll find demo mode. I like enabling this because this allows the camera, if you leave it on standby, to automatically rotate and helping you to get some creative angles if you're having a hard time creating something that looks cinematic. As you see right now, it's automatically moving on its own, and then we could just continue looking at the screen to see what kind of angle we want to capture that, or you can just leave it like this to make your gimbal look pretty cool that's doing something even though it's not doing anything. So that's what demo mode does, and to exit out of that, just disable, and it will automatically go back into standby mode. Now, if you do want to use the native DJI app each and every time your gimbal connects to your iPhone or Android phone, by selecting this tab and go back into general, which by hitting the blue window icon, go down until you'll find the quick launch. Enable this, and now each and every time your gimbal connects to your phone, it will automatically launch the app. And then if your phone supports this, you can also enable Dolby Vision, which you'll find in the video tab. If you scroll down, you'll see Dolby Vision right there. But keep in mind, this will be HDR, so everything will be brighter. So if that's the type of style you're trying to record, that's how you can enable that on the DJI app. And then if you have multiple subjects in frame, this gimbal is smart enough to track every single person, and you can simply just tap on them to automatically begin tracking. So if you're tracking one individual and you'd like to transition to another, just tap the screen, it will automatically do it without you having to create like the little square for tracking abilities. And then this also supports dog tracking. Now there you guys have it. That is everything you could do on the latest generation DJI Osmo 7 as well as the 7P. Hopefully you found this video informative and helpful. If you did, you know what to do. Greatly appreciate if you actually leave this video a like, as those help out a lot. As I like to keep this channel driven by you guys, the viewers, not integrated brands and such. Which is why you don't see like video sponsor segments from like a VPN and stuff like that in my videos. So thank you to those that continue supporting the channel. Now links to everything, of course, will once more be linked in the description down below, including this iPhone case and this case I have on my Samsung device. But if you're debating between getting this for your iPhone or Android, there's really no limitation. That's one of the beauties I like about DJI, is they don't cap you in any way regardless on the operating system you're using, unlike other gimbals I've seen on the market lately. But they both, again, they operate about the same. Now real quick before you click off on this video, if you'd like to find out some cool things that CarPlay can do if you're using an iPhone, I highly recommend checking out that video over there where I go through my favorite settings and some hidden features that not a lot of people know about. And don't worry, my fellow Android users, I have you covered in that video as well, where I go through the nifty settings you can enable on Android Auto. Thank you so much for watching.